this is where the corporate media right now and where the White House is hoping for in the fall, because there's big trouble for Democrats right now as they head into this midterm election. New polls out today show that President Biden's confidence level is at the worst for an American president in U.S. history ever. Right? They were talking about this with Trump. No, it's worse ever. We've never seen poll numbers this low for an American president on the confidence level. This cannot be good come November. Even the words Jimmy Carter, of course, have been thrown around over the past number of months, a lot by media figures. Here's Neil Cavuto, my old colleague at Fox, Neil Cavuto, asking White House advisor Jared Bernstein about Jimmy Carter being thrown around. Listen.
Do you guys ever start feeling like it's Jimmy Carter deja vu? And that's where we're headed.
I think the difference there is between the kind of stagflation they were facing and the very different, in many ways more nuanced economy we're facing. You know, you like to focus on the headwinds, and I get it. If it bleeds, it leads. I understand that.
No, I focus on reality, Jared. I focus on the numbers. I have no political agenda here. I just look at the data, and the data doesn't look encouraging, right?
Well, that's because you're choosing which data to exclusively look at here.
I think I gave you 11 pieces of data. So look, the headline and the core inflation are, to quote the president, unacceptably high. Okay. So that is absolutely a relevant data point for you to bring to the table as you have.
So how do you stop this bleeding? How do you rally voters in time for a midterm election? Well, you enlist the power of the corporate media to start scaring voters into thinking that there's a new, more dangerous COVID variant that's out there coming in time just for the election. They're literally calling it like the midterm variant now. Over the past 24 hours, you may have noticed the corporate media is trying to scare us all with new, most dangerous, the dangerous headlines. Look at this. This is the Daily Beast headline. This new ninja COVID variant is the most dangerous one yet. And the Today Show pushing this new variant. Who better to ask than White House doctor Ashish Jha, who is the COVID coordinator. Here's how the Today Show tackled this morning. Watch.
Let's move now to new worries about COVID and a summer surge driven by a highly transmissible new variant. So in the last 2 weeks, COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths all up. So is this the beginning of a new wave? Well, we've got just the man to ask. Dr. Ashish Jha is at the White House. He's the COVID-19 response coordinator. Dr. Jha, good morning. Good to see you. Okay, so let's break this down. So what is the cause of this surge? Is it that this variant is so elusive that sometimes even the shots and boosters can't get it? Is it that we have waning immunity? We got our shots so long ago that we're due for a booster? Which is it?
Yeah, great questions. Actually, a bit of both, right? So what we know is BA.5 is highly immune evasive, meaning you could have been infected 3 months ago, and we're seeing a lot of people who got infected recently getting now reinfected. People who got a booster or a vaccine shot last year are getting breakthrough infections. So the key message from this right now is if you've not gotten a shot in 2022, especially if you're over 50, you got to go out and get one because that's the best way to protect yourself.
There you go. I mean, Larry Johnson, ex-CIA analyst with us. David's here. Natalie's here. I mean, this is so you may have already had it. You may have already had it. Just got to keep running out, getting more boosters, getting more boosters, getting more boosters. I saw an article yesterday that said Big Pharma is upset because they can't figure out how to monetize long COVID. Yeah. They can't figure it out. So what do? I guess you keep pushing this new strain, right?
So you think that it's politically convenient to have another round of the pandemic for the losing party. And, you know, recent memory would support that because during the pandemic, we had so many stimulus bills that were so good for politicians. And the pandemic was, if nothing else, you know, for many very team building, right? We believed we were all in it together. We did things for other people that were inconvenient for us, right? Thinking that we were being altruistic. So you're saying it's very conveniently timed to have a resurgence.
That's my feeling on it, and I think I'll ask Larry and David this question. I mean, I think that's a great point, right? I hadn't really thought about the stimulus side of this, but remember Donald Trump. Remember the effects in the election, Larry, right? That when those checks were hitting people's wallets and it said Donald Trump on the check, and they were asking voters in Florida, down in your neck of the woods, about that, there were people who literally thought Donald Trump had sent them a check, and it actually reflected in the election results.
Well, this go around, that dog ain't gonna hunt, and here's why. 2 years ago, you could get away with saying, hey, you got to get vaccinated, and even get that booster. It's going to keep you from getting sick. But people are smart enough now to recognize that, hey, Dr. Fauci, who's had 2 vaccinations and 2 boosters, he got the COVID. So comedians like Jeff Dunham have now begun, and Dunham's a ventriloquist, and he's got a dummy that looks an awful lot like Joe Biden. And he's got that dummy doing a press conference explaining why you need to get more COVID shots. And it's pure comedy. And yet Dunham doesn't have to make anything up. It's just like, okay, do you have to wear 1 mask? Yeah, wear 1. How about 2? Yeah, wear 2. Yeah. Well, how about 3? Yeah, wear 3. Do you need a mask? Well, no, not necessarily. Well, why do I need the vaccine? Well, they keep you from getting sick. But you had the vaccine and you got sick. Yes. But so why do I get the vaccine? Well, to keep you from getting, it's just, now, I remember I had arguments with people about wearing masks 2 years ago. I worked my way through college as a respiratory therapy technician. So I had some background in this, and my wife ran the critical care unit at the National Institutes of Health. She knows that little creep, Fauci. We knew what was necessary from a medical standpoint. Well, the same person who was arguing with me 2 years ago about, oh my God, I got to have a mask to protect myself, now goes, yeah, I agree, we don't need it.
Yes.
We had the ultimate test.
Nowadays, you can be a COVID denier without being a COVID denier, right? We all can sort of agree that the mask may not be the level of protection we all thought it was. I'm reading this article right now that says that that the current immunities on the market don't actually address Omicron, right? So we all know this now. Right. So there's not so much you're not a crazy, person for saying I'm not going along with these things anymore.
And Larry, you're saying we have the biggest test case ever, right?
Yeah. But if you compare Florida and New York, here you have empirical evidence. New York, mask mandate, wear it everywhere, wear it to bed, wear it to the bathroom. Florida, no mask mandate. If the masks work to prevent COVID infection, you would expect that the New York would be far lower and the rate of infection in Florida would be far higher. Well, that's not what happened. They had basically roughly the same infection rates, with the difference being when you put in the algorithm for the fact that the population in Florida is the second oldest in the United States. The only other state with an older population is Maine. When you account for the number of, I'm a youngster here, I'm 67. When you got the number of 75, 80, 90-year-olds running around, and the fact that, some of them died, they're going to die anyway, but you adjust for that, it just shows that the mask did nothing. It did nothing, because you don't have to do some massive global study. Here you had 2 states, and they show the similar thing of having lots of visitors coming in from other countries and other places. And in Florida, it's Miami and Orlando. In New York, it's New York City. So it's just the people are now, they're getting attuned to the realities, to the facts. And they're not going to let the government, fool them again. You get fooled once,
and that's
not going to get fooled
And that's
twice.
what I was going to say. So it's like when it first happened, there was too many unknowns and people were rightfully scared. I was concerned too. And then fortunately, there were some smart people out there telling information, and no matter, the social media tried very hard. These big tech companies tried very hard to suppress this information, but thanks to social media, we were able to get that information. And so now when I do polls on our channel, asking if people are going to partake in the next version or whatever, the boosters or whatever, out of 90 to 100,000 votes, it's 90% no. So I don't think that this is going to benefit them if a new variant comes out, because people have woken up and they understand that they've been fooled.
Yeah, unless, again, it's not necessarily about the medical effects, right, on people, because no one's saying I can't go to a play date with you because we're still quarantining for for COVID, right? People are out. They are living their lives.
Right.
It does feel like you can't put the horse back in the barn unless there's a way to stimulus, right? I saw a protest today where people were protesting record high rents. I'm not exactly sure where it was, and they had signs that said cancel rent. That is something that politicians have absolutely shown that they will do if they think they've got an emergency they can pin it on. So could it help the Democratic Party to start giving away tchotchke in the way of stimulus, rent, student loan pausing? Again, those things absolutely could happen.
Right. There's no emergency with this for children at all. And as I read 2 days ago, there's a report about polls among parents for young kids, and apparently that ship has sailed. Like, parents are saying, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So
then also the CDC in a report had admitted that they were not paying attention to VAERS, like at all, not paying attention to the VAERS,
which is the victim or the adverse effects reporting network.
Right.
So you're not paying attention to the system you set up to tabulate adverse effects. Unbelievable.
Yet today the FDA approved the Novavax vaccine, I believe, and the CDC is expected to follow just a day or two after. But they still do it. Well, at least now they are publicly admitting that there is a risk of myocarditis with this and others. And at least now they're saying that, like, even in a Reuters article about it, this is printed now. So whereas before there was such deniability.
Yeah.
Right. Now it is a part of the conversation we are allowed to have.
I wanted to talk about something Larry mentioned here. We'll finish up on this, which is the mask mandate question. So Dr. Jha was asked about this on the Today Show about renewed mask mandates as we head into the fall. And he did not dismiss that. In fact, he's leaning more towards this than anything else and saying it really falls down to the states. So listen to what he had to say about incoming mask mandates for the fall once again.
And that's why, especially in crowded airports, but on airplanes, I'm still wearing a mask. It's just a good way to protect yourself and to stop the spread to others.
Do you foresee any kind of mandates? I know you say you wear one. I've seen, some people wear them on planes. Do you expect any mandates in any indoor spaces as we look ahead?
The thing about mandates, Hoda, and I've been saying this for 2 years really, is that when it comes to, let's say, city or statewide mandates, these are really decisions made by local political leaders. Again, remember, the science here is very clear. It's settled that wearing masks indoors in crowded spaces helps prevent infection, helps prevent spread. There might be cities or states that look at that and make a decision to move forward with the mandate. I know other places won't.
Yeah, there you go. So a renewed push for mask mandates once again. Unbelievable. I mean, in some areas, like, there's still, we still have these mandates. So
there's still mandates here. Like, if you go to any medical facility, like I got to go to the dentist tomorrow, I still have to wear a mask. Any kind of medical facility or anything like that, you have to wear a mask still.
Yeah.
I think there were certain school districts right up until the end of the year still mandating it. So they ended the school year. They didn't have it off early. It was all the way up until the end of the school year, and they're still assessing when the kids come back in the fall if they're going to make them wear masks coming back in the fall again, Larry.
And that is the absurdity of it, as David just pointed out, that you're standing there in the dentist's office with your mouth wide open, and all of a sudden now magically, because you've taken your mask off, you're not going to be passing germs or viruses. I mean, good God, and people see through this. They finally say, okay, wait a second, stop jerking me around and stop telling me that this wonderful pile of cow manure is actually chocolate mousse. Doesn't smell like it, doesn't taste like it.
Well, at least you went as far as to taste it. That you'd be braver than me. Once it wafted my way, I'd be like, man, this thing is rotten. But
we're out of here.
Larry goes all in on it.
But it could just be a really bad smelling mousse. I'm just going to taste it in case.
That's true too.
Well, we should end on that. We should end
really from a moose.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the giant moose pie. We should wrap it up on that. Our guest has been Larry Johnson, ex-CIA analyst. Great to have him here for the hour discussing a lot of the top stories today. Where can people find more of what you do? You write, you cover, Larry?
I'm at sonar21.com, and I try to get an article up a day, just whatever the spirit moves me.
Whenever the spirit moves you. He's got great coverage over there. He's done some excellent coverage of what's been going on in Ukraine geopolitically, and his insights into the intelligence community are second to none. So our thanks to Larry for joining us here on the show. Thanks so much, Larry. Really great to have you here today.
Great to be with you all. Thanks a lot, Clayton.
You bet. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. You know, we've been banned, we've been blocked, we've been censored. That's why we started our own website, to stay connected with you for free.
That's right. So head on over to redacted.inc and make sure you're connected with us. You can sign up again at redacted.inc, not .com.